All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream today. It is another day. It is Thursday, the day of Thursday. And I'm excited to be joining you live on this 14 days to real estate. We're talking about step 8. And I have a very special guest today to bring in. And his name is Joshua.
Yo, what's good? What's good?
Whoa.
Howdy do, everyone. Welcome. Good morning. Bless you. Yes.
So excited to have you on here, Josh. On a quick side tangent, Josh ordered us these very healthy smoothies, as you can tell by the color. It looks like grass, and it tastes
straight up kale.
Tastes like kale and grass. Healthy. So we're grateful for Uber Eats today for delivering that to us to our outside of our door. Outside of the building, actually, because they don't come inside the building anymore. Anyway, that's not why we're here to talk, right, Josh? No, that's right. We are here to talk about real estate. And so if you're just joining, we've been talking about the steps to real estate, 14 steps to wholesale virtually real estate. And today we're on step 8, which is scheduling the first home visit based on our wholesale formula. And there's no one better to talk about that than Josh. Because I know I am very not good at talking about it, and Josh is very good at it and very good at getting to those numbers. So I thought I'd invite him on today. Some quick housekeeping things, Josh, just before we get going. I'm excited. We gave away 2 products yesterday. So Franco and Jeff, cheers for figuring out the secret phrase, which was calm seas never made skilled sailors. And that was the secret phrase over the course of the last 6 days. And there'll be another one going up today. This one's 7 words. And if you get each of the scrambled words and email them to me at the end, I will give you access to one of our products. And so keep an eye out. Oh, excuse me. Keep an eye out today for that. I'll flash it across the screen. Maybe I'll get Josh to say it. Who knows? But it'll be in this video. So that is our free giveaway. You can see here. Oh, finish that quote. I made that cool banner. And one last thing before we get started, shameless plug for Next Level Real Estate. If you click above, you'll learn about how we wholesale deals, and you can watch a video from Dustin. It's 22 minutes long, and it's great. And you'll get to see basically the process of how to find deals that no one else is finding. So if you want more information, click the link above. If you're on YouTube, click the link below. All right. And without further ado, let's chat about first home visits. Oh, look at that. All these different things here. Cool. Yeah. So Josh, why don't you walk them through just like why we schedule a first home visit? Maybe intro into that. I think that'd be helpful for people.
Yeah, definitely. Is this a tax lien certificate school thing?
It is, but it's streaming to Tax Lien Certificate School and the Tax Lien Deed Group.
Yeah. Lovely. Beauty. Sounds good. All right. Well, if we're talking to mostly tax lien and deed investors, then we all know what it's like to buy a property sight unseen. We all know what it's like to buy a house where the exterior looks great, and you get inside and there's all kinds of crazy secrets and bad stuff in the basement. And so what we've always done throughout the years is do our absolute best to reduce as much risk as possible when buying properties at a tax sale. And we try to get property for 10 cents on the dollar. We try to get really good deals. We try to investigate as much as possible. That might be through county records, title search. That could be through looking at code violations. That could be driving the property and looking at it. There's a lot of stories of people buying a property based on a Google Street View, things like that. So we've done everything, possible to try and mitigate as much risk as we can, but there's still going to be so many unknowns if you can't get inside, right? And so what we've done is when it comes to wholesaling and, setting up appointments is we want to get a first home visit so that we can get inside and accurately assess all of the things that are going to need to be fixed. Because there's so many things that you can't see from the exterior, right? You can't see the HVAC, you can't see the electrical, you don't know what's going on. with, if there's a basement and you can't see the foundation below that, if it's underground, you can't see that. And so there might be things happening underneath the surface. You might not be able to see if there's interior fire damage, you might not be able to see that. So there's so many things that are unknowns. And so, one of the ways that we've accounted for that in tax lien and deed investing is sometimes just assuming a full rehab, a whole rehab, and buying it based on those numbers. But we want to be able to get inside and accurately assess the damage or what it's going to take to get this property to the top of the market. And so, when it comes to virtual real estate investing, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. That's what we're kind of getting to, how to do this or why to do this. Yeah. Well, so we want to do this so that we can accurately give a good offer, give an offer where we're able to wholesale it, and so that we can make a little bit of cash, and then whoever buys it from us can also make it some cash, so that everybody wins. That's a good deal, and people are going to want to keep coming back to you, if that's the case. And so there's a few different ways. One of them, when it comes to virtual real estate investing, wholesaling, is you could just simply have them take photos. There's a couple lists floating around that people kind of use where they would show these are the best things to take photos of. And that's going to be, you want photos of the interior, of course, kitchen, bathroom, bedrooms, foundation. If you can get roof. Now, roof's a bit more challenging, of course. Sometimes that will require a drone or going up to a higher level, so you can get that photo. But taking photos of that, electrical, it's a couple photos in the bathroom, a couple photos in the kitchen. If you can get some photos of the windows, because if the windows need to replace, then you've got, let's say, 20 windows. That's a chunk of change, right? Versus a place where the windows don't need to be replaced, things like that. If you can get photos of the units, so the HVAC unit, or air conditioner unit, and you get the water heater, things like that. That's all going to be really helpful. And so you can make a really good decision. You can get a good estimate of what it's going to take to repair that property just from having somebody take photos. And so, you can do that from anywhere in the world. You can talk to someone and you can have them take photos. They can then upload it to Google Drive. They can upload it via email. They can do it in all these different ways. And so you can have them do the photos. So that's one way. That's a good way to do it. But what if that's not possible? And so the reason that might not be possible is if you have an out-of-state owner. I mean, a lot of times when people are looking for real estate leads, they're looking for vacant property, or they're looking for out-of-state owners. And so if you've got someone in Florida who owns a property in Texas and it's vacant, perhaps it used to have it rented out and something happened to the tenant and the tenants left, there was a bit of a headache, and now there's this vacant property. You don't have a way to see that. And so if the owner is out of state, you've got a couple of options if you're doing this virtually. And you could put up a post, on Craigslist, and you could find somebody who could take photos for you, or you can use a company. And so there's a company called We Go Look, and it's going to be, it might be anywhere from, let's say, 75 to 150, somewhere in there, depending on the package you get. And WeGoLook.com, they will send somebody out and they can take photos, and they'll be good at taking photos of real estate. And so they can do all of that for you. And so think about this. This is much better than, buying a property sight unseen, when you can get inside the property. Now, they'll have to have it on a lockbox, of course, but maybe it's not secured and someone could just waltz right in. But those are a couple of different options. Or you could hire someone, let's say you're investing in an area and you're going to be continually coming back to this area, or you're going to be doing multiple visits a week, perhaps. I would think at least 5 could justify. If you could do 5 personal visits a week, that could justify hiring somebody locally. You could find someone that you could find some resumes on Indeed.com, put up an ad there. So those are all different ways to do a virtual FHV, and kind of an overview of why you want to do one as well.
Nice, sweet. Yeah, and so we actually have done mostly the latter, where we hired someone, because we are doing it virtually from up in Canada. And so we hired someone down in Ohio to be that ground person for us. And it's good and it's bad. It has positives and negatives, just like anything else would have positives and negatives, but you just have to learn to make it work and go along with that. So yeah, I guess at this point in the step 8, we would have sent out the list, and sellers would have been calling in, and we would have been talking to them and booking a first home visit. Now, Josh, when you're talking with sellers on the phone, how do you know how much their house is worth, and what's a quick way to get to an offer to them that won't offend them, or maybe it will offend them, but it's not like hey, I'm going to give you $100 for your $200,000 house. What is a moral, ethical, and just a good way to get numbers for people?
Yeah, that brings me to a thought too. I think if at this point in the conversation, if people have been able to adequately express their pain points, if people have been able to adequately talk about all of the reasons why they want to sell a property, it'll be less offensive. For instance, if someone hops on the phone and says, "Hey, how are you?" "Good." "How are you?" "Good." "I'm calling," or "I got your postcard." "Yeah, I'm looking to buy a property. Are you interested in selling?" "I'm entertaining offers." "Okay, great. What's your address?" 123 John Street. "Okay, well, 123 John Street. I could give you $65,000. "What the? Get the off my phone!" And then they hang up, and it's like, okay, they're offended, right? And so that makes sense, because they might have looked their property up on Zillow and seen it said $120,000. So they're confused. How did they go from $120,000 down to $65,000? And so if the thing about the offer, it's like that's your one piece of I wouldn't say power, but it's something that they are wanting from you. And so once you give them that offer, it's like you lose your power. You could say you lose any, you lose your, it's like your
leverage.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, leverage, anything like that. And so you want to make sure that you're leading people on a journey, and they're uncovering and they're letting you know why they want to sell, because the offer that you give them, and it showed on the photo there, is 65% of ARV minus repairs and expenses, things like that. And so no one's going to accept that offer unless they understand the reason why, unless they adequately are connected to their pain and why they need to sell. And so we're looking for people who aren't really exactly just shopping around. We're not looking for people who are thinking about selling. We're not looking for people who are wanting to get the highest offer on a property. We're looking for someone who has pain points and needs to sell. And so when you're talking with someone and you're coming up with the ARV, this is the way that you want to be doing it. If this is live on the phone, you want to get the address at the beginning, and then start asking them probing questions about the property, what's wrong with it, why they want to sell, and then see if they start to uncover any pain points. So there could be a divorce there, and so then asking about that. There could be a terrible experience with tenants, so asking about that. There could be tenants who have damaged the property. So while they're doing that, while they're talking and they're uncovering the pain points, you're listening and having a look at, say, a few different comp websites. And so the quickest, easiest, dirtiest way to do it would be just to go to google.com and put in the address. And that's going to give you a few different websites right off the bat. I'm thinking that'll give you Zillow, that'll give you realtor.com, that'll give you maybe HomeSnap, that'll give you, here's just an example. Yeah, it's Zillow and Realtor, a couple others, Redfin, stuff like that. And so now the reason I say quickest, dirtiest, easiest is because it's not going to be the most accurate.
Josh, just one sec. You're breaking up. I don't know if it's for me or for everyone. You want to try again?
Yo, yeah.
Well, it's roboting. Try now.
Is it still breaking up?
A little bit. I'll try to pull off my.
What about now? Testing. Is good? Oh, nice. Yeah. So the reason I say quickest, dirtiest, easiest is because it's not going to be the most accurate. You've got Realtor, Zillow, Redfin, and these are all websites that have algorithms. And so they're going to be pulling a whole bunch of data to give you an estimate. And it's not the most accurate. But at this point, you don't have the time to necessarily do a deep dive. And so to do a deep dive, you could get the price per square footage for that area, for that kind of property, which is what a realtor would do. But we're just on the phone and we want to kind of get a ballpark really quick. So this isn't the time yet to do a deep dive. This isn't the time to really break it down and get your own comps and do a full analysis. So this is the time to just really, what you could do, which is quick and simple, is take you want at least 3 different websites and find the average. Find the average of those different comps together. And you could just blend them together. And so you take one plus the other divided by 3, and there you go, good to go. Or if you could pull up in just as many as you quickly can as possible, and see if there's anything that is an outlier. So for instance, let's say you had three comps that said 150, 155, 159, and one that said 178. Wipe away the outlier 178 and take the others. And then roll with that. And so for the formula, you're going to, as you're listening to how much damage they're talking about the property, whether it's a full rehab or things like that, you're going to take your average of those 3 properties and multiply it by 0.65. So that's going to take 35% off of the ARV. And so that means, okay, this is the price that you're looking at acquiring the property for, but you've also then got to subtract rehab or expenses, things like that, to get the property back to the top of the market or anything like that. And so at this point, you've got a few different options on how you pitch it. You could say, all right, we're looking at a ballpark of, let's say the property was this. We'd be looking at a ballpark of 107,000 minus rehab minus expenses. Now, that's a higher number than what it truly is going to be. So that will be helpful to get you in the door. But if you then go, but let's say it's a full complete rehab, so it's going to be 107, probably minus 80,000. So they might be thinking in their head, oh, okay. So in reality, it's going to be a $27,000 offer. But they might be thinking on the phone, if you say 107 minus rehab, they might think, oh, it's just $10,000 worth of rehab. But at the first home visit, that's an opportunity to really highlight everything. And then you can break it down and show this is how much it's going to be for rehab, and this is why. So there's a few different ways to get first home visits. You can give them the most accurate number on the phone, and that might get them to say no. They might say yes. So you want to feel that out for sure. We've done both. We've done where we've had a pretty large window. So maybe if the offer is 107 minus rehab, and we know that there's 30K in rehab, we might give a more generous window, or we might hit them with a real, this is probably what it's actually going to be number. So it depends on how you want to do it. It depends on how you want to spend your time. There's a person who wants to cast a wide net, and the wider your net is, the more time it's going to take, but you're going to miss less deals. And then there's the other person who wants to be a bit more precise, a bit more exact, doesn't want to waste time. They've got more of a narrow net, and they don't joke around. They don't mess around. They've got their numbers. And the thing is, though, this is the process that could take multiple points of contact. It could be a phone call, the FHV, and then a couple more things, or it could just be quick. It could be quick and easy. And so every person's going to be different. And so you want to feel them out. You want to, there's formulas for all of this stuff, but this is really about, relationships. This is really about talking to people. This is really about understanding people. And so you'll take the formulas and it's going to build your framework. It's going to build, how you are able to acquire property safely, where you can wholesale it and make money. But each time it's going to be different how you kind of play it out. And so I think what will happen is the more experience then you get into it, you'll realize, okay, this is the best way to do it this time, and this is the best way to do it this time. There's not necessarily a one shoe fits all, as in life. We all have different size feet.
Wise words, man. That's awesome, man. I think that's great. Obviously, there's a lot more to that than we're kind of going through it quickly. We can't really teach all of it in depth, as there's just a lot of stuff to process. But yeah, that's kind of the process of finding the ARV to the properties. And since we're here, I'll just do another shameless plug. If you want to learn exactly how we do it, check out the video above, click the link above or below. Dustin does walk through a bit more of the process. And then in our course, Next Level Real Estate, we obviously take you through very, very in-depth our entire process. And we have 2 live calls a week that we walk you through for questions and answers that we're on every week. So yeah, so that's great. I will do the word right now. The first word is your. And so this isn't in order, it's scrambled. So the first word in the next quote is your. It's lowercase. That's a hint. That's a big hint. So keep track of those. And when I say the last one, I'll give you an email you can send it to, and we'll give you a free product. But if there's any Q&A as well, feel free to put that in the comment section. I forgot to mention that at the beginning. But if you comment after the fact as well, that's fine. We'll answer them on, I noticed some questions coming in on our YouTube page. So this will be up on YouTube later today. So you can watch it again and or watch for the first time. So
yeah, before someone writes the comment, I don't trust Zillow. It's not accurate. Yada 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 yada. I know. I would just say, when you're on the phone with someone and you got to do a quick, dirty, easy, taking the average. But I will say that Zillow has so much information, and you can look at previously sold property, and you can look at most of the things that a realtor can see nowadays. And then from there, you can come out with a live comp. But I always see that pop up on YouTube or wherever. So I'm just saying that now.
Zillow's the enemy. They're never right. And that's true. Sometimes they're not. Look at that. Step-by-step video training. Click the link above. Look at those hands pointing up. Ooh. Cool. Well, if there's no questions, it was great having you all on. Josh, thanks so much for joining us today. That was great. Any final closing thoughts that you have that have popped in your brain? Any super thoughts because of this super juice we're drinking?
Right?
Ah.
I don't know, man.
That's right. You don't need any. We'll just to recap really quick. I'll just do a quick recap for y'all.
We can talk about that. We can talk about that thing real fast.
Sure. Which thing?
Well, so I guess so far, the other steps they've talked about marketing and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Pulling the list. So we started at choosing your market, deciding the pain points, pulling your list, skip tracing, Google Voice number, sending out mailers. We talked about beast mode and Asana yesterday, and today we're on to this one.
Yeah. So the property that Corey searched, that's a property that we bought and sold for, I think it was a 165. Did it show on the history there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So 165, and that was someone who was incredibly motivated, and that was someone who was going to lose the property for the back taxes, and it was on the chopping blocks, and it was vacant too. And I believe that I don't know if they inherited it from someone or something, but it was just sitting there. It was empty. It was vacant. And so the formula didn't even come into play. They were just looking to get out from the back taxes. There was a couple of liens, a couple of things. So we just paid for all that, put $5K in their pocket, and that was it. So in that conversation, the formula never even came out, because the formula would have been different than what was discussed. And so, yeah, again, it's do it every time. But that was that property, which was cool. That was pretty awesome.
That's sweet. Great. Well, on that note, we'll sign off for today. We'll be back tomorrow, where we're going to talk about. I guess we kind of talked about. Actually, tomorrow is a little more. We'll go more into depth into. We go look the repairs and the kind of figuring out the rehab costs more in detail. So that's exciting. So talk about that more tomorrow. And then talk about negotiation. Then we're going to talk about title companies. Then we're going to talk about marketing properties. People are buying cash. Then we're going to talk about other things. So exciting times. Thanks everyone who logged on. This replay will be up on the Facebook page and our YouTube page later this afternoon. So if you have questions, put them in the comments, and we'll be happy to answer those for you. So thanks for joining, Josh. We'll see you all soon.
Thank you. Stay safe, everybody.
If women don't find you handsome, they should at least find you handy.
Amen.
See you guys.
Ciao.